Hi everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day, coming to you from noisy New York City. I say that because this is like the third time I am starting this video because there's construction or something. They're doing something in a manhole right across the street from my windows. So there's this big truck and this big arm, and then there are trees and I can't see exactly what's going on, and then there's the manhole and there's all these workers. Let's see if I can get more than 2 sentences out. So I thought today I would show my Peanuts haul, which is not too big of a haul, but I can't take credit for that. That's only because Vera Bradley released so few items in it, in these patterns, that I was forced to show some restraint. So before I get started actually talking about this pattern, I wanted to just recommend to people with these patterns, there's more than one, and also with the Disney Classics patterns, which I am going to be doing a video about soon because I've gotten a number of requests recently for that, which I appreciate. With both these patterns, these collaborations, I really recommend people when they're looking to really slow down and look. Don't look too quickly. Don't just glance and look away, which is what I initially did, which kind of reminds me of there's this quote from Vincent van Gogh when he was painting and he would show his paintings. People would say to him in an attempt to criticize him that it looked like he painted too quickly, and therefore like his paintings couldn't possibly be good. That's the implications, because he painted them too quickly. And his response was, no, you're looking too quickly. And so that's kind of how I feel when I look at a pattern like this or the Disney Classics pattern, because when I slowed down and really forced myself to look, I saw things that I had been missing. And I'm someone who was, due to my art background and also my proofreading, editing background, with my parents being artists, I mean, from the time I was a toddler, I have been trained to look. And so I'm good at it. And yet I was still looking too fast, and I realized I had missed stuff on from when I had first looked at it. I hadn't noticed a lot of the small details that really make these patterns lovely. And if I hadn't slowed down and looked, I would have been carrying these bags and not ever known that those little touches were in there. So I've seen some things on here in these patterns that I hadn't noticed on first glance, and I'll point them out, but there probably is even more in there that I'm missing. So again, I encourage people to really take a moment to enjoy looking at the bags, because they might see stuff they hadn't seen before. So I was a little bummed with this release because I felt like, well, there's only that one regular size Vera tote with the applique/embroidery on it, and you would think that would be right up my alley. Given that I seem to like a lot of these novelty, I call them kind of novelty items, these novelty totes. I got the huge deer tote, that cozy plaid neutral deer tote, and I have the Bambi and the Pooh. So you would think this would be, I would be the perfect audience for that tote, but there was something about it that just, I don't know, wasn't speaking to me. I don't know whether it was the big plaid tree, like that's the dominant thing there, is that tree, or I don't know, it just didn't appeal to me. So that's good, saves me some money. But then, that was the only regular size Vera tote. I mean, they have this handful of patterns, and they didn't put any of them on a larger, the regular size tote, and there's no Glenna, and there's not even a turn lock. So I feel like it's a very bare bones kind of collaboration. And the sales associate who helped me, I did make one of my orders was a phone order, and I was asking her if maybe she thought they might be sort of staggering the release and come, as it gets closer to Halloween, maybe they're going to come out with some more stuff. And she said her understanding was that no, this is it. So I don't know how much she really knows, but this might be it for the peanuts. I was kind of thinking, well, maybe this is a teaser and there's more to come. But anyway, so that leaves me getting these small Vera totes if I want a bag with a pattern. Like, that's my only option, because I don't do the triple zip hipster and there's only one anyway. So it's a little sad, but again, saves me money. So I'm stuck with these small Vera totes. Oh well. So the first one, did I cut the tag off of this already? I don't know. Oh, maybe it's over here. Oh no, this is just the hang tag, the display. The first pattern I'll talk about is Peanuts Halloween. And it does come with this, all these collabs come with this cute hang tag. And this has a little sales blurb on the back here, which I'll read. And it's funny because I know in my most recent videos, especially the Provence Pays, I was kind of joking about the French translations of all the info on the hang tags now, which seems to be a relatively new addition. And I was laughing about it, but I'm thinking about it a little bit more. I mean, it's always going to make me chuckle because I'm always going to try to read the French and butcher it. But I'm thinking now it may be a little bit more logical than it first seemed, because there's more than just France and Canada use French. There are a lot of other countries that do speak French. May not be the only language that's spoken there, and especially some of the maybe one or two countries where some of these items are being manufactured. So on second thought, it might be not as illogical as it seems, but anyway, but the hang tag, which is on all of this is the same on all the different patterns, reads, "Fall for peanuts. Celebrez l'automne avec peanuts." I won't read the whole thing in French, but this whole blurb, sales blurb, is also on here in French. "It wouldn't be fall without crisp days, crunchy leaves, perfect orange pumpkins, and the arrival of one of our very favorite things, the whole Peanuts gang. Take them along on your autumn adventures. Everything is better with friends. Tout est plus agréable avec des amis!" Exclamation point. So there's that, but that's on everything. And this first pattern that I'll talk about is Peanuts Halloween, or as the French say, Peanuts Halloween. It's like they just gave up with that translation. It's the exact same thing. So I think most people were kind of led to believe, most of us Vera fans who were chatting amongst ourselves and going on what the website said, made it seem like this was only available online. However, in one of the groups that I'm in, I think it was the the Buzz Facebook group, Vera Bradley Buzz, there are some independent retailers in that group, and one of them was saying he's got it in his store. So independent retailers were apparently given the option to carry this, order it and carry it in their store, and some of them did and some of them didn't. He opted to have it in his store, so he has this in his store. So it's making me think, maybe if you have a Hallmark, I don't know whether he has a Hallmark or what his store is called. But I thought that was interesting. So because when I called up, not for this I ordered this off the website, but when I called up a store to place a different order, I was asking her about this, and she said, yeah, that's an online exclusive. So even the sales associates, that's the party line, is an online exclusive, I guess. That's the party line. But apparently it is available in some independent retailers. So it's making me wish I had a couple of Hallmarks or something I could run into. Because my big thing about this, and I do love this pattern, I think it's very well done. But as always, I mean, they are always gonna, it seems like this is just the way it's gonna be with me and Vera Bradley, is they're always gonna fall short in my eyes as far as how they're dealing with pattern placement and how they're designing their patterns. Because I feel like they designed this pattern, they knew this was the only bag they were gonna release it in. This is basically a small square. So they know the dimensions by now of their product. And they should be designing a pattern repeat with that in mind, and placement of the elements within that pattern repeat with the dimensions of some of the items in mind. What bugs me here, in general, I am pleased with this pattern placement. It's not my ideal. What I really wanted was this element is very large. Snoopy sleeping on the pumpkin is very large. It really draws the eye, and there's no other element in this pattern as a counterbalance to this. And so if you don't get this centered, it really throws things off. You can't get it here and here nicely placed, and this is related to what I just said, because it's not well spaced within the pattern repeat. See, if it's nicely positioned here, we're just talking about this piece of fabric under the pocket. Which, this is one piece of fabric under the pocket, and then the pocket is slapped down. So you've got two nicely placed ones here, although he's a little cut off there. Snoopy's a little cut off, but I mean the pumpkin is there in full. So there's another one lost somewhere under here. That's how it's spaced in the pattern. Here, you can see it on the back. You can see what I'm talking about. So you get one nicely placed here, and these are sort of, they're getting cut off by the strap. I mean, if this were shifted a little bit over, like a ½ inch over that way, these would have cleared the strap, and that would have been at least a little bit better. But it's still thrown off because you can't ever get the nicely placed big pumpkins here and here because they're too close together in the pattern repeat. And so here, at least what's going on is they're kind of forming a triangle, and that's okay. I mean, that's kind of working, but it's not, as nice as if they were a little bit more balanced. And there's nothing else counterbalancing this, over here. Well, and that's frustrating for me. And I feel like that would have been an easy fix. So just know what your dimension of your item is. Keep that in mind when you're placing things in the pattern repeat. So yeah, every bag might not get this in an ideal position, but this is really awkward, right? And sometimes it really happens very badly where these larger pumpkins are just all falling kind of slightly cut off by the straps or the pocket or whatever, and it's frustrating for me. So that's my beef with it. Got it off my chest, and now I can just say, I do think it's a lovely pattern. I do think it's very successful as far as the elements in it and how things are treated in it. I do think it's really sweet. I was hoping to get the big pumpkin here or here, and I've only seen 2 totes. And I've seen a lot of pictures of the totes now. I've only seen 2 totes with, this here, and one of them is the product shot on the website. So in real life, I've only seen one out there in the wild with something here. And that's just really kind of bad. Whatever. So, I'm glad at least he's there and he's visible. And this part of the bag, when I carry the bag, it will be sort of facing forward because of how I carry the bag. So I like that. And I was also really pleased that I didn't get a ghost here, because that's another element that kind of draws the eye. And if there's no balance with it, it's awkward. Like here, I'm lucky it's in the center, and so I can deal with it. But not my favorite element. And so when I opened the package and I saw there was no ghost on the front, I was so pleased. I mean, I thought for sure I was going to get a ghost. I mean, that was kind of an issue in Spooky Cats. I think there was a cat with a sheet on it or something. It's the same kind of issue. But now to all the great things about this and some of the tiny details that I did notice that really sort of made me smile. Well, first off, it's a navy background, which is nice. I mean, I think of course, that gives you the nighttime feel, at being out at night and trick-or-treating, and so you want a dark background in something like this. But it's very wise that they didn't go just immediately to black, because that lets you have the trees in there, and they give you that eerie, that silhouette, nighttime eerie feel, but at the same time, they don't fight with the characters. You know, they recede, the trees and elements, the tree elements recede into the background, even though they're still visible, but they recede and let the characters, you know, pop. So that's nice. And what I noticed about these trees is that in some of them, there's almost like floral patterns. I'll hold it up closer. And that kind of, to me, harks back to, like, that's a nod to the brand, right? To Vera Bradley. If you look in there, you can see these sort of flower elements. You know, they almost look like some of the flowers that you see in Tavern on the Green. Those big white daisies, they sort of have a daisy feel to them. And down, that's the same one. Whereas there's another tree with different pattern in the leaves. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, that's not so much of a floral to me. I don't know if it's this one or this one. There are these other patterns within these, some of these trees. So I thought that was kind of nice, that they did that. I also, when I missed this at first, probably because I don't have a lot of I don't have ghosts on the front, although there is one on the front. But when I was looking at the back, all of a sudden I noticed Woodstock in a tree as a ghost. So I don't think I would have noticed that if I hadn't slowed down. Here's here. So you can see the two together. I also noticed that Snoopy, this little vignette here, Snoopy reading a book to Woodstock, and they both look kind of scared. It's a scary book. And then the title of the book on the cover there is The Black Cat, which you can see it. I have a blanket, and you can see it well in the blanket, so I'll show it. But that's what that book says there. That's what the cover says. I thought that was cute. And that's cute. The line is with his little holster. Sally and the pumpkin patch a little bit. So, people, I don't know, if you're of a certain age, you remember watching it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and I feel like that was I don't know if that was the first time that Lucy did the gag with pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, but I know it's in there. And so that is in the other pattern that I will show, but I don't think I got that element, but it is in that pattern. And I'm wondering yes, everybody knows that gag, but I'm wondering if that's why they wanted to include it in these patterns, because I do think it made like one of its first maybe, or its earliest, that sort of solidified that part of the Peanuts comic strip. That sort of like, it's iconic, right? Everybody knows that gag of Lucy with the football, and she's always going to yank it away from Charlie Brown, and that's like in the culture now. And so I think that's part of probably why they felt that they should include it. So anyway, I was surprised not to see right, they're all in the movie, in the cartoon, a lot of the kids are dressed up as ghosts, and Charlie Brown has trouble with the scissors, and he ends up with a white sheet that has all these holes in it, more than just the 2 holes for the eye, right? And he gets rocks. Everyone gets candy and he gets rocks. So I was kind of missing those elements, and the Red Baron, you know, but still nicely done. And also, when I slowed down to look, let me see if I can find it on here. It is on here. Just have to find it. I can never find it. Here it is. And the only reason I noticed this was I slowed down. I was looking at things here, but I also was looking at my blanket very carefully. And everything is bigger there. And this was bigger there. And I said, oh my God, I didn't notice that. Maybe that's in the bag too. In this combo here of Snoopy and Woodstock, Snoopy's ears are bat wings. There's a bat right up there. But I like that little grouping. Also the leaves here, very nice colors of the leaves there. There's Charlie Brown. And this is a good Snoopy smiling. I feel like sometimes when Snoopy's showing his teeth, he can look a little crazy, a little like manic. But I feel like in this release, in the various versions, whenever he's smiling with teeth, he looks good. It's a good amount of teeth. And so, you know, I do think it's nice to get all the orange, and I'm always with the pumpkins, which is nice. And so, you know, I'm always sort of looking to try to get that balance with these two, at least give me something over here. I mean, I guess Peppermint Patty maybe, but she's not really weighty enough. But what I did notice that's nice, in talking about balance, is Schroeder's hair. Now, I'm not a big Schroeder fan. I mean, I can take him or leave him. But his blonde hair works nicely in conjunction with the crescent moons. So there you're getting kind of a triangle there for balance, and that's nice. And I feel like I haven't looked at a color wheel in a while, so I'm a little out of practice, but I do think blue and orange are complementary colors. If they're not exactly complements, they're very close, but I think they are complementary colors, meaning they fall opposite each other on the color wheel. And any colors that do that, pairs of colors that are complements like that, enhance each other when they're used together. They sort of make each other almost seem more vivid when they're used in combination. And so that's an important color relationship. And that's being used to full advantage here. It's a nice blue, not too dark, but again, that's the you can see the black elements, but they do blend in with that blue, and so that's nice. Oh, here's the other tree I was talking about. That has a pattern in it. These white leaves here remind me, I'm not gonna remember the name of this pattern, but it's like, I don't know if it's a navy blue background, and it's got these very simple leaves in like a teal kind of color. The shapes of the leaves remind me of that. So I was pleased with this. I also was happy I got a pumpkin on the strap. It's always, you know, you're always trying to find straps that don't, sometimes the straps can fight with the body of the bag. They create awkward, you know, overlap with the fabric underneath the bag fabric. But I feel like okay with the straps here, not bad. Pumpkin again on the back strap too, with Peppermint Patty. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. Okay, so this I ordered, oh, and the lining. I'll show the lining more closely on O'Reilly. It's easier to open up. But the lining is the same in all the different patterns. It's just Snoopy, you know, in various orientations and various poses, and then leaves behind. I'm surprised they didn't put that on a bag, because it sort of reminds me of Ski Slope Snoopy a little bit, and they did put that on, I think, the small Vera tote for that release. with Snoopy kind of in all different directions, sometimes upside down. So, and this is your regular size small Vera tote, you know, same dimension, same features, slip pocket with a zipper pocket, and then the hidden slip pocket up top, and the 6 interior slip pockets. Okay, so then the other tote pattern. This is Fall for Peanuts, L'automne avec Peanuts. So this one, again, frustrating for me because there was that big element of Snoopy sleeping on the large pumpkin. And I wanted that on the front, ideally on the pocket. I didn't respond as immediately to this print as the other one, and so I didn't get this online. I was sort of slow out of the gate with this one, and then I did call a store because I was feeling like pattern placement was very important, but the stores didn't get a lot, and I wasn't calling, you know, first thing on release day, and so they had already sold some, I'm sure, and so wasn't able to get, this is the element, and I wanted it on the front somewhere, either here or here. I didn't really want it, I would have taken it here, but I feel like the balance wouldn't have been great. So that was disappointing that I didn't get that. But when I opened this up, I did like the balance overall. You know, this orange tree, and it's here, and it's a little cut off here, but it is here enough that I feel like I'm getting enough balance. These are not my typical colors, this kind of palette. I'm not a big magenta fan, and this is really kind of an icky brown there. And there's sort of this well, there's these orange colors. This orange almost looks like it has a little white in it. For people who, you know, are familiar with color mixing. And this is very like sort of electric rust kind of color. I do like this lavender here, this tree with the lavender. I mean, this has a feel, the background to me, of almost like a collage, like they cut out big pieces of colored construction paper and glued them down and then drew on top of it. It sort of reminds me of children's art in a way, something you might see in a classroom in an elementary school or, you know, kindergarten or whatever. So it's nice in that. It has a sweetness about it. So my first, I called the Christiana Mall, store in the Christiana Mall, and the woman who helped me was really lovely. And I was asking her about this. She said, we only have a few left. We didn't get a lot in to begin with, and we only got like 2 or 3 left. And you know, she said, so I started to ask about the pumpkin, or there's another little vignette with Linus in the pumpkin patch, and that's kind of important because he's the one in the Great Pumpkin. He's the one who believes in the Great Pumpkin, and he's the one who wants to forgo trick-or-treating to sit in the pumpkin patch overnight. And so I wanted one of those on the front pocket. She didn't have anything like that, and I was telling her that, and she said, well, I'll take pictures and text them to you. So that was nice that she offered to do that. After I called there, I called the Disney store, and then I learned the Disney store didn't even get any. I guess they must have some kind of contract where they can only sell Disney stuff. And so the Disney store lady recommended that I call a Sarasota store. So I called the Sarasota store, and that woman was clearly like not interested, really. Sounded like put out, like she didn't really want to help. And her attitude immediately was kind of like, oh honey, you're just, you know, give up. You're not gonna, I've only got like 2 bags left, and you know, so you don't have a lot to pick from. And she didn't offer to send pictures. And when I described what I was looking for, the elements I was looking for, she was just, I could like hear her rolling her eyes. So, you know, it's always a crapshoot when you call. In general, I have had good experiences. I've had 1 or 2 bad. This was one of the not so great ones, and I probably will never call that store again. So, I mean, I don't think Vera Bradley's watching my channel, but, you know, if they are by some chance, you know, they should know I will never call the Sarasota store again. And so they won't get that credit as like a sale. Like, I was happy to do the phone order with the Christiana Mall because I feel like that helps them with their sales figures, right? And maybe it will prevent them from being shut down because we're losing so many signature stores. So I'm happy to do that phone order, make that effort. But you know, this woman in Sarasota was so unpleasant that I would never call there again. But anyway, so I ordered this along with another one from the website, and the other one has like nothing of interest anywhere, not even in the front pocket, so it's not even worth showing, but it's going back. But so, you know, initially I was like, oh, okay, I'm not getting the pumpkin anywhere, good. And I was kind of a little sad, but I slowed down and I was looking at it. And I realized the balance was okay for me, and that was important. And then I really started to look at the figures, and it sort of started to grow on me for sentimental reasons. I do think the pattern is prettier in person than it looks in the photographs on the website. Shocking. And that's kind of typical. And I was admiring other people's pictures as the shipments started rolling in, and people in like the friends group that I'm in, they started sharing pictures, and so it started to grow on me a little bit, and I decided to take that chance. And when I look at this front pocket, well, I love Snoopy with the leaf. You know, when I was a kid, I had these, it was 2 or 3 paperbacks. I mean, they looked like paperback books, like regular textbooks. That's a small format paperback book, but they were just Peanuts comic strips, and I would read them over and over again. And I mean, the pages were crumbling because they were very old. Even then, they were older than me. It wasn't like I got them new. I think I found them in like a box of books in the basement in this building that someone had discarded. And so those books were interesting because they show the progression of Schulz's line work and how he adjusted, transformed, you know, developed the characters over time and was changing how he was drawing them. And so it's nice to sort of get that glance back, you know, a feel for sometimes how the characters were drawn back in the day a little bit. That's for some reason, this reminds me of that a little bit. But there's him with the leaf on his head is brings back memories. And then there's Frida. Frida cracks me up. She's the curly hair, redheaded girl. She's not to be confused with the little redheaded girl who Charlie Brown had a crush on. That's a different character. But I remember Frida was like very proud of her curly red hair, and I think she felt, you know, Snoopy was kind of full of himself, and she wanted to get a cat. Right? She wanted to get a cat to take him sort of down a notch or whatever. And so she picks out this cat, and this is the cat I remember when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, right, the boneless cat. Out of all the cats she could have picked out to try to put Snoopy in his place, she gets this boneless cat, and Snoopy's reaction is like, that's a cat? You know, he was underwhelmed, he was unimpressed. And so I was kind of tickled then, after remembering that, to get Farron, that's Farron the boneless cat. I do remember reading some interview or something where Schulz said he didn't last long. This the cat character, he didn't include that long in his strip, maybe a year roughly, because he felt he didn't draw cats well. He wasn't comfortable drawing cats, which I think is sort of ironic, right? That he's critical of himself, and he was such a skilled artist. But that is the boneless cat. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, okay, I think maybe I could keep this bag. And here you get Violet. Now Violet, you know, I feel like is maybe more of a secondary character, but I think it's interesting they included her here. And I always get like she just tickles me a little bit too, because her name is Violet Gray, I think. So both of her names were colors. But in the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, I think she's the one who has the Halloween party or something that Linus doesn't go to because he doesn't go trick-or-treating. I don't know if he goes to the party either because he's just sitting in the pumpkin patch all night long. and so that's Violet there, and Pigpen, of course. Unfortunate. This is Lucy decapitated. This is part of the vignette where she's pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. I don't have that on here, but I mean, she almost doesn't even register as anything there. So just a blob of turquoise. I do like also this. I don't know. He's with Frida. I don't know what he's reacting to, Snoopy, that he's leaning like that, but I like that, and that also seems very sort of like a throwback to earlier Schulz's earlier style. So then on the back, again, this is again sort of reminds me of the earlier style of Peanuts, the drawing of Snoopy, him in the tree like a vulture. There he's on the pumpkin. That pumpkin is so great. That orange is just perfect. I like this tree too, the red with the lavender. And here we have Schroeder, and I like this combo of Schroeder with Woodstock because Woodstock is singing. There are There are notes there, and his mouth is open too. There's the doghouse. I almost didn't see the doghouse. This is kind of a nod, right, to Vera Bradley. It's a kind of a Daisy Dot Paisley feel to it. And there you get the pumpkin patch. I mean, I'm glad I got line. I know there's Marcy too. Marcy and Peppermint Patty in a pumpkin patch there. But I'm glad I got this one somewhere on the bag, because that's kind of the whole point of It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, right? Because Linus is the only one. Linus is the one who has faith. I think that's maybe, if you want to read into it a little, maybe too much, right? But he's the one who has faith in the Great Pumpkin, and he's the one who's sitting in the pumpkin patch every year, and he said, okay, well, next year, and so I think the Great Pumpkin was the one who was supposed to rise up on Halloween and give all the kids who believed in him toys. That was the Great Pumpkin, although I do think that Schulz had somewhere said that it was really just about a little kid confusing Christmas and Halloween, but I think a lot of people do read into it about with undercurrents of like faith and having faith. So there he is in the pumpkin patch with Snoopy. I do think at some point in the story, Snoopy, who's dressed up as a fighter pilot, the World War I flying ace, right? He gets shot down and he's in enemy lines, and his head, he's living out this scenario. And he ends up in the pumpkin patch, and he startles Linus, who passes out or something, and then Sally wakes him up. Sally has a crush on Linus, so she has agreed to sit in the pumpkin patch with him before she gets frustrated with him. I think she gets frustrated with him at some point, right? As all women do with their men. So anyway, that's it. Small Vera Tote again. Same lining, which I will show now with these other items with this other pattern. So this pattern let's talk about this item. This is not an item I otherwise would have bought. This is Peanuts Fall Meadow. And this is I'll get to the Riley's, the mini tote pack. So the first thing that I need to say about this is that I love this background color. This is perfect. This is like almost a perfect Eagles green. And I'm not talking about that Kelly green crap that Jeff Lurie's brought back. I don't know what the hell he's thinking. He better get back to the focusing on the true Eagles green. And not that ridiculous throwback logo with the flying eagle. let's get back to the eagle head. That's a sharp logo. This is Eagles green. This is going to go perfectly with all my Eagles shirts. So it speaks to my Eagles fan heart. And I'm very pleased with the background color. It's coming out a little blue on my screen. It's a little bit greener. This is not an item I would be normally interested in. I'm not a huge backpack person, but there are some things about it that I did like. I like the straps. They're thinner than the straps that you see on like the campus backpack or any of the larger backpacks. I tend not to buy, I have to be really desperate for a pattern. And whenever I'm buying a backpack of any kind, it's purely pattern driven for me. The only backpack I would say I truly love is the commuter backpack. And I won't buy that anymore because they changed the straps. The straps used to be thinner, narrower. And now they've made them those curved, wide straps. And I hate those straps. And they're on all the backpacks. And they are too wide for me. I'm always saying I'm not a linebacker. And I feel like when I'm wearing them, I have shoulder pads on or something. They're uncomfortable. They're too wide for me here, going down under my arm, coming up here and going down under my arm and around my boob. I mean, it's just too wide. So when I saw these narrower straps, I was like, ooh, okay, well, at least there's that. So, I also like that it doesn't have side pockets. Not a huge fan of those gathered side pockets on the campus backpacks. I just think they're a little blousy looking. I don't like them. A little diaper bag looking for me. And I'll never put a water bottle in them. They're too shallow. The water bottle sticks out too much. So I don't use those. So I like this look better, more streamlined. So it's got these the double zipper that goes all the way down, and then it opens nice and wide with these gussets though that keep it from totally flopping open. So that's nice. But I do feel like this is a very streamlined backpack, very kind of minimalist. There's not a lot of features. You've got this zipper pocket on the front. There's no card slots or anything in there. It just sort of opens, slightly gusseted. There's a hidden zipper pocket in the back there. It's not lined with the pattern, the interior pattern, but it's just black. But there's a hidden pocket there. There is inside this zipper pocket and then a slip pocket, two slip pockets of different widths. Right, there's a narrower one and then a wider one. And a snap on this top handle. Is this top handle thing, so I guess you could carry it like this. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll try wearing. I don't know that I would ever just carry it full time as a bag, from the handles, because it's got these, the adjustable parts of the straps just hanging down. And they might run. I think they would probably hit the ground because I'm not tall enough. They wouldn't clear the ground. Ooh. I didn't realize there's fabric on here. I never get good little fabric usually on these tabs. Like everyone was talking when Cat's Meow came out, what was on the zipper pull, the end of the tab and the end of the zipper. I got crap. I mean, I got nothing. But Snoopy, what's on the other one? Yeah, this is more what I usually get. Decapitated Sally. So I don't think I would ever just go out thinking this is the only way I'm going to carry it from these little handles. But I could see maybe slipping it, throwing it over one shoulder if I'm not using it as a backpack. But there's a snap up on these, plastic snap. So you can snap them together if you wanted to. And so this pattern, I'm going to zip it up again just so it's easy for me to hold it. This pattern is nice. Again, something similar is happening with the background here, where it's a nice deep sort of teal green kind of color. And then there are these silhouetted trees, again, very fall-like, a little spooky. but they're navy blue, and so that makes them less sort of harsh and severe rather than being black. But yet they still, you know, function well. They still have this, the proper effect, you know, and they let the characters sort of advance and the background recede. And again, you've got, you know, pattern in there that harks back to flowers in the trees there. That's nice. There again, Snoopy with the book. This whole vignette is kind of nice. So Frida is nice here too. Again, that's Frida. She's nice. She functions like the pumpkins, right? With her hair adding a nice bit of color for balance throughout. So if you don't have pumpkins, maybe you've got Frida's hair sort of, you know, punctuating the, giving you a little bit of pop of the orange color. So I was pleased with the balance here. We got Linus reacting. You can't really, here you can see he's reacting to Lucy jumping in the pile of leaves, so his hair is standing up. You got Schroeder and again Woodstock singing. Maybe you can see that a little bit clearer here. So they're reusing some of their motifs, you know, some of their vignettes from the other pattern, but that's okay. Also, you've got, and he's in, I think he's in the other pattern too. Yes, he is. I didn't mention him, but I'll show him again. You got Franklin. I like that they've included Franklin. Franklin, and that's Peppermint Patty there, of course. Franklin was the first black character. Introduced this the same year after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. I believe it was a school teacher, a woman, who wrote to Schulz and suggested that she thought it was a good idea. He might consider including a black character, that it would be helpful, be educational, and it would be helpful given the situation in the country. And he considered it, and he decided he agreed with her, and he introduced Franklin. Here he is again, in the other pattern. Here he's with the football. That's a nice touch, the football, right? Very fall. And I also, and so when I ordered this, I saw this had sold out on the website. And of course, then all of a sudden I want something more. It's like, how old am I? Having this very juvenile reaction. And so this one I got from the Christiana store. And the sales associate, I feel like her name might have been Yvonne, I'm not sure, but she was lovely. And she texted me, she had 3 of these, and she texted me pictures, and I picked this one because I love this vignette of Snoopy running and Woodstock behind on the bicycle. So I do like that. It was funny, she said, when I picked this one, she said, I knew you were going to pick that one. And here again, another Snoopy with teeth, a good amount of teeth. Like not too crazy smiling, you know, like he's Jack Nicholson in The Shining or something. Yeah, so I like that. I don't know how often I'll use this, but so here you can see the full sort of sense of the vignette of the Lucy jumping and the 2 of them watching her, Charlie Brown watching her. So, you know, Charlie Brown's shirt, of course, is nice. Nice, gives you that touch of yellow. You've got Schroeder's hair, you've got Sally's hair, you've got, maybe not in this one, I don't know if you don't have moons in this one, but in the other one you've got the crescent moon, and then you've got Schroeder's hair, and so there's nice touches of yellow throughout, this nice balance. Same thing with the orange. So yeah, so very pleased with this. very in love with the background color. And then I had ordered a Riley, but I was on the phone with a woman, and I thought, oh well, let's see, maybe she has a good one, because I don't know what I'm going to get. And so I asked her, did she have running Snoopy? And she said, oh yeah, I do. And so I said, okay, well, give me that one. And I love that with the bicycle. And something I noticed about this is they're doing, I don't think they do this, I mean, they haven't been doing this on the regular release Rileys. I wonder if this is a new thing and they're going to continue to do this, or it's just for this collaboration where they have added a seam here. So instead of this piece of fabric under here, under the flap, this piece used to wrap all the way around, and it would be one piece. But now they've added a seam here. So that means that this back, on the back, the characters are also right side up, which is great. I'm always talking about repetition and pattern placement, and it's like they started paying attention to pattern placement here, but they thought, I would want the exact same element. It's like, can't win. But this is, stupid French hang tag. But this is now one piece of fabric. Not one piece of fabric all the way around. There's that seam. So that's nice. Schroeder and Woodstock. I'm liking this grouping, the two of them, more after I saw the notes and that Woodstock was singing. Really started to grow on me. So here you can see the lining real good, so is where I'll show it. And you can see that the background is a really light cream color. And then that allows Snoopy to be white. So there's some definition there. Some separation from the background. And all those leaves everywhere. This sort of harks back to the earlier representations of Snoopy, because in the earlier days of the cartoon, Snoopy walked on all fours, but later on he evolved into being a character who walked on two legs, like the human characters. So it's nice that they've included that. And again, the leaf on the head. I just love the leaf on the head. And so, I was like, oh great, this is great. And then, of course, I made, these are all different orders. So then this came. This was something I ordered. And I got the dancing Snoopy. And I feel like, how can I let go of the dancing Snoopy? Kind of want to keep the dancing Snoopy. This is a tree I was talking about that seems to have those leaves. There's a pattern that uses those leaves, and I don't remember what it's called. Help me out, Victoria B, because I know that you know what I'm talking about. Again, paying attention to pattern placement, they put the same character on the back that's on the flap. So it's like I can't win. You don't. I'd rather have this than an upside down figure, and I'd rather have this than something I don't care about, a part of the pattern I don't like so much, but it's, a little repetitious, kind of would like some variety, but it's good. And I managed to get that little, I love that Woodstock on the pumpkin. So very pleased with this. So I was thinking, oh God, now I have to choose, and I have these two, and I have to choose, and I felt like my brain was going to explode, and I was just like, I'll just, keep them both. I'm sure I'll just keep them both. So let's just say it out loud, own it. And then last but not least, I know it's a longer video, but what are you gonna do? Oops, dropping tags. Let me get this tag. Again, fall. Oh, this is fall for Snoopy now. L'automne avec Snoopy. As the French would say. Because I'm sure they spend a lot of time talking about Snoopy. You can see every which way, very much like the lining. I don't know if the figures are exactly in the same position, but the figures are all, basically the same. And it's a sort of a burgundy background color, not my go-to color, but I like it. It's nice. This is the Cozy Life throw. So it's got the Sherpa or whatever this is called in the back. It's funny because when I first got into Vera, I was not drawn to the throws at all. I was like, well, why do people want all these blankets? Fast forward like 5 years later, and I'm like, I've got blankets like coming out of my ears. I should see them all over my closets, and I've got a slew of them in storage. I mean, I can't help myself. But certainly I couldn't get into the Cozy Life ones. I was having trouble because I missed this. I felt like I was going to miss this velvety feel of the throw. And then I don't know whether I ordered one on sale, or I think what might have happened was I really liked there was a Foxwood. I think there's a Foxwood version. There's a regular Foxwood throw, and then there was the Foxwood Cozy Life one, and I really liked the pattern on that one. But sometimes the patterns are different. If there are 2 throws for one pattern release, sometimes the pattern is different on the Cozy Life one, and I often tend to prefer those patterns, and so I broke down and I bought one, and I ended up really liking this. It's warmer. I use them more in the winter, although I do have the Bambi one on my bed right now for when it gets cool at night. I'm really liking it. This feels nice too, you know. So now I have one more thing I like. You know, why couldn't I have hated it? So anyway, that's nice. And then I got Pixie. Then I got the Peanuts Halloween, and this one is funny. I didn't when I ordered these throws, you know, I didn't really open them up. I just left them in the plastic bags, and I kind of put them aside, thinking, well, I'm not going to put them out right now, and you know, I'll show them in a video if I do a video, but I don't need to look at them right now. And so when I opened this up to just look at it before doing the video, it was the first time I had opened it up, and I started to open it up in my bed, and Pixie was at the head of my bed by my pillows. And as soon as this got open, you know, enough, she picked herself up and she trotted over and she just plopped herself down on it. I don't know what it is with these throws and pets. They love the throws. Okay, so this again is a nice, rich navy blue background. It's like blue velvet. It gives you that feel. Very luxurious. Silky. It has like a silky look, right? It has like a sheen. But here is Snoopy with the bat ears and the bat flying behind. And those leaves. Look at those leaves by the pumpkin. That's great. Look at the colors there. So there's that. And I think you get more than once. You get this. He's up top too, I think. Was Lucy as a witch. I mean, she was a witch, and she went as a witch trick-or-treating. That was her costume, I think, in the Great Pumpkin. And here we've got the ghost and the little ghost, the Woodstock ghost. But also here you can see the book cover better, and the 2 of them, and their reaction, how they're reacting to the story. But you can see it says the Black Cat. Peppermint Patty. Again, another nice little grouping of the pumpkin with the leaves. Really nice. Sally. Charlie Brown and Linus. And another smiling Snoopy. Not too, I mean, that's a bigger grin, but I'm okay with it. Still liking the grin. And you get some of those trees with the pattern in them. A Woodstock reacting to the scary pumpkin face. So very pleased with both those blankets, really pleased. So that was my haul. And this one, this is definitely my favorite. Not my ideal pattern placement, but I do like it enough. I will carry it. I'm pleased with it. So yeah, that was it. The Peanuts fall / Halloween release. Just in an hour. Oh my goodness. Okay, gonna have a sore throat. Anyway, I hope people found that helpful, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.